Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Loretta Fabbri, Rector's Delegate of the Teaching and Learning Center of the University of Siena, I welcome all of you to the first webinar of 2026. As Teaching and Learning Center, we are committed to foster innovation in our teaching practice, and problem-based learning, we think, is for sure one of the frontiers of teaching and learning. So I'm glad to introduce the keynote speaker of today and the hosts of this webinar. The first is Professor Liu Shang from London Metropolitan University, but also I'm glad to introduce Matteo Gerlini, Elena Petricci, and Emanuele Montomoli from University of Siena that will conduct and will discuss with Professor Shang during the webinar. I want also to thank Alessandra Romano and all the person of the staff of the Teaching and Learning Center. So thank you very much again for all the colleagues that decided to participate. And I give the floor to Emanuele to start the webinar. Please, Emanuele.
Thank you very much, Mario. Before of all, let me know if you can hear me well. It works. Yes. Perfect, because sometimes we have some problems with connections. So let me say I have only the role to say something about the University of Siena engagement in the bioscience area and biocontainment, etc. So I have just set up a couple of slides just to see where we are, what we have done until now at University of Siena and the biosecurity containment topics, etc. Let me try to share my screen. So should be fine. Works. I have my presentation. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes.
Okay. So as I said, my name is Emanuele Montomoli. I'm full professor on public health at University of Siena, where there are some biocontainment lab where we work with a high pathogens lab there, but we are not the first, of course, who works in the biocontainment at University of Siena, because our long history comes from the medieval time as well. If you come to Siena, you can see that there's an old hospital. The old hospital, which is called the Santa Maria della Scala, is in front of the cathedral, and it was probably one of the oldest hospitals in Europe, just to help and to get the people, the sick people who work in the Francigena pathway during the medieval time, and they stop to Siena in case that they are sick, and they are recovered in the Santa Maria della Scala. So this is the first probably biocontainment area that we had in Siena and in the medieval time. After that, so the University of Siena has a longer history in life sciences, biotechnology, viruses, bacteria, etc. So in the beginning of the century, we had a rector as well, who's Achille Sclavo, and founded a vaccine manufacturing in Siena, so where he produced several vaccines, where he produced several antisera. At those times, there was no monoclonal antibodies, but something as the first drugs that we can parallel with the monoclonal antibodies now. So after Achille Sclavo, we are very proud to say that in Siena, and this is the ceremony at the University of Siena, even Albert Sabin received several congratulations in 1960, where he decided to come to Siena to produce the Sabin vaccines, and he used the Siena manufacturing already set up by Professor Achille Sclavo before, and he set up several biocontainment laboratories just to study the poliomyelitis and several other high pathogenic viruses. So more recently, we are engaged in a couple of European important projects. One of those was called FluCop, which was led by my department, and we did this project 6 years ago just for the standardization of influenza assays for influenza vaccines and for pandemic vaccines as well. During this period of time, we decided to set up some biocontainment labs in Siena, and we applied all the procedures and all the regulations that are needed for the biosecurity and biocontainment. So we are engaged, of course, in education and technology transfer and capacity building as well. So in my last 20 years, we set up a couple of labs, biocontainment labs in, as you can see here, the picture on the top right is in Vietnam. We set up labs there for the University of Hanoi, and we signed an agreement between the University of Hanoi and our university just to transfer the technology to works in biocontainment. And we did the master in vaccinology, where a special module was on biocontainment as well. And we did a couple of summer school on biocontainment with the support of WHO and the European Center for Disease Control in Stockholm. So, of course, there are several topics that we are working under the biological containment. Here, there's a list of some of those, but what is more important is that we are checking all the vaccines that are produced and that are licensed for the human use, not only for pandemic strains, but for pandemic seasonal and traditional strains. That's the activities that we are doing at the University of Siena. I am very happy, and I have supported a lot this webinar, because I'm quite sure that we can do, we can transfer our know-how, we can collaborate with the London Metropolitan University, with Professor Lin Jun. I will meet him probably tomorrow, and we can set up something together. We can do something together between our university and the Metropolitan University in London. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. My feel is that Matteo should say something before to start with the official webinar.
Thank you, Emanuele. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, colleague, for this wonderful first occasion to debate a brand new topic for our education. I have prepared a very short slide because Emanuele, who's a renowned biologist, started from the history, and so that I am an historian. I will start by the technical aspects related to biosecurity. And this is interesting, and I think it is part of the problem solving that we have to deal when we merge different bodies of expertise as it is needed to perform the biosecurity and in general, I think, the security studies. So I will try to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So can you see my presentation, I think?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I will start the presentation module. I'm Matteo Gerlini. I'm the Vice Director of the Department of International and Political Sciences. And no, it was interrupted.
Exactly, Matteo.
Yeah, lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost
I'm
it.
not more the relator. I don't know why. The speaker, I don't know why. Let me try again. Okay, now it works.
It works.
Yes.
And the director of the newborn Center for Security and Cooperation Studies of our university. And okay, the relevance of biosecurity, in my opinion, as I try to outline in a wonderful book that Li Jun has edited on the biosecurity education, moved after the experience of the COVID-19 in a completely different perspective with respect to the former one, let's say, related to the relevance of biomedical labs from in the perspective of security, let's say, when we are talking about malicious or criminal acts related with a certain technology. Before we were focused only on the safety of the biomedical labs, so how to prevent accident, and this is still relevant, and I will try to outline how this two aspects. And the third one that Legion has dealt with in his book, and I think also in his presentation. Safety practices are connected with political choices. Security belongs in this aspect of political choices. It is connected, biosecurity, with other paradigms of security, but I will try to focus various paradigms as the cybersecurity, chemical security, radiological and nuclear security. But I will try to focus also on the specific elements of biosecurity and why biosecurity matter, I think, still today in the aftermath of pandemic. The first aspect is to move from research organization to national and international governance. And this is part of this education approach that Legion has developed. The basic assumption that I try to outline in the foreword to the book of Legion is related to the material fact that biological materials relevant to biosecurity are among the most uncontrollable, while, for instance, in nuclear security, we are in a completely opposite of the spectrum. The nuclear materials are the most controlled in the human technology. And all these different ways and all the complications that are derived from this aspect, we try to develop a different and integrated approach to that. So we need to work on measures, culture, and education to try to compensate the strictly technical material accounting approach that we had with other realms of CBRN. We can learn, nevertheless, something from nuclear and the cooperation-based control, and so the relevance of the international paradigm to try to work together to deal with threats or risks that are by definition international because they don't know any human boundaries. And also the fact that security could add protection on the existing base of safety to prevent exactly malicious acts. And last not least, the fact that in the nuclear realms, we have developed this 3S logic that merged together safety, security, and safeguards. So all the military aspect related to this kind of aggressive material and technology. A comprehensive approach that can provide us the room to develop novel solutions in the field of biosecurity education. And to conclude, I think that one of the most relevant contribution that the work of Legion has given to the biosecurity is exactly the foundation of the network on biosecurity education, the international network called with a very lovely dramaturgical name of IBSEN, International Biosecurity Education Network, that follow exactly what I am trying to say to you just up to now. So an international comprehensive approach, not tied only and limited to national dimensions, but that find the best way to approach the problem of biosecurity globally in a certain way, with lessons learned that could be translated in the various national realities, because at the end, the security belongs to the national states, but the lesson learned, the success story, the good experience could be and should be socialized through a specifically devoted network. And IBSEN, I think, is the prominent one in this field. And I stop here. I thank you. I thank the Teaching and Learning Center to provide us the possibility to discuss of these topics. And I stop my screen sharing. Thank you so much.
And maybe Matteo, you want to introduce Li Jun?
The microphone.
Yes, I'm very happy to introduce Li Jun. Thank you, Alessandra. I don't want to take the floor to Marco. And so it's really my pleasure to introduce you Professor Li Jun Shang of London Metropolitan University. Li Jun has a long score of publication and research on biomedical, and not only biomedical, because he moved not so much recently, but very effectively in the field of biosecurity education. He participated in the delegation of the United Kingdom in the Geneva Forum for the bioweapons limitation and prohibition. He has a long standing also of activities in this field. And please, Li Jun, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you so much to inviting me to take part in your series webinars, especially the first one in 2026. I had this great pleasure, and the history of link with University of Siena is coming from the Matteo, my best friend in Italy at the moment, and we have the a common interest in the security and the security education, especially Matthias was chairman of the International Nuclear Security Education Network. Then this work, have some match and some interactions, and based on their collaboration, ideas, discussions, and help each other has been running on for a few years. And also Matthias has been my visiting professor to my center last year. So we have the big, good foundations to starting the link. And since last year, Matthias has helped me to contact with your colleague in the university, especially from the everyone. I don't want to mention everyone's name. Actually, I can't remember everyone's name, forgive me, is to starting thinking how we can put things together and have some, shared information and also explore potential collaboration, which is this webinar is for. And I think it's a good fit from the previous introduction of the university on the work of the vaccine work and the long history, and also from the school of the teaching and learning. And the teaching learning school, I think my understanding is not just discussing the methodology, etc. It's also provided the platform and the opportunity to share the advanced technologies, especially the interactions of the multidisciplinary subject of area. That's I think is really, really good to have these ones. So I have the great pleasure today to talking about some of the work I have been doing, or I leading my center is doing on the biosecurity education. And I'll start to share my screen a bit more. Okay, so the outline of my talk is have these several sections. I will briefly talk a little bit on the biosecurity. What does that mean? Just in case, some of the staff is coming from the different department and the subject area have no any contact before. And particularly, I will talking about what's education in the biosecurity, what's the role and the education gaps. And then moving on to what's the potential solution. Why? Because that's the thing. We're not just finding the problem, we try to solve the problem. So we're talking about the global network, which we proposed and has been, showed great interest in and debate in the recent BWC Working Group conference, and that is the absent which Mattia just mentioned. Then I move on to a little bit discussion on the methodology innovation, particularly mention a little bit our work on how to use a digital methodology to improve the education effect, and also brought the material design, and also some stakeholders talking about our recent work on the school project. And in the end, I will mention about how to address in the biosecurity education gap. These need broad collaborations, and also mention about how we interact with a policy maker, especially with the BWC, showing our recent Nature paper on this. A very, very brief introduction. I speak a little bit slow. Okay. So on the first section about the biosecurity, particularly, I want to give the small definition of the biosecurity and the background of the terminology, mention a little bit differences of biosafety and biosecurity, and point out this is an international security issue, which will mention our link and approach on biosecurity with chemical security and nuclear security, and what's the international agreement and the guidelines on this issue, and what's the challenge of future and leading to the education. What's a biosecurity? Biosecurity is referred to the measure aimed at preventing the introduction or spread of the harmful organism intentionally or unintentionally. This is really, really important. Unintentionally, outside their native range or within the new environment. Biosecurity issue included biosecurity threat to people, for example, from those from the pandemic diseases and the biotourism. We'll mention about the work with the health, especially with the WHO. This definition has sometimes been broadened to embrace other concepts and is used for the different purpose in the different context. For example, in agriculture, these measures are aimed to protecting food crops and livestock from pests and invasive species and other organisms not conducive to the welfare of the human populations. These are non-traditional security issues such as climate change, organized crime, terrorism, and landmine gradually come to be included in the definition of international security, which link to the biosecurity issues. Therefore, these biosecurity issues have a very big significance, especially followed the devastating COVID outbreak, and the state parties increasingly want to be assured that biotechnology-driven development can take place safely and securely. Therefore, biosecurity issue has been accelerated to the highest level. As I mentioned, biosecurity not only limited to the human, which people always think or always focus on, and also applied to the food, animal, plant, and the environment. Last October, WHOA, World Organization of the Animal things, they organized the first global conference talking about the biosecurity in the agribusinesses issues. And this is something showed our understanding about the biosecurity issues more broadly. Particularly the speed and impact of the fourth industrial revolution is evidenced on all the aspects in a very recent year, very rapidly to thinking, they're linking to the biosecurity issue, particularly nanotechnology, synthetic biology, gene editing, artificial intelligence, I think that industrial revolution is just because these technologies can be applied to our biological issues, which Emmanuel found is a similar feeling, when they're doing the vaccine design and the development. However, this biosecurity issue is most forgotten or neglected, and how to address this challenge, especially how to establish adequate and effective training and education, really need attention. And then it's becoming an international security issue. It's not just limited in the locally. And as I mentioned, other traditional security element has played the part. So the biosecurity is one of the issues to be securitized, and this trade in a way people is doing, particularly a lot of the mentioning about the advanced science and the technology. So what people has done on these issues, international organizations, international bodies, state parties, or legal instrument and agreement has made up the worldwide governance framework on the biosecurity. This is an example of the standard-setting organization putting some legislations and governance, etc. But most importantly is the Biological Weapon Convention. Biological Weapon Convention is the first multilateral disarmament treaty banning the productions of the entire categories of weapons being biologically weapons. So that is most important things, and we're thinking the state party or policy maker can help to achieve. The challenge definitely coming from a lot of the diseases. For example, we call it emerging virus. Some for COVID, we don't know how it happened. They play a major threat to global or public health. And also another challenge is, as I mentioned, is a harmful technology. I put the quote in there. It's not any really harmful technology. Is advanced science and the technology has a potential to be harmful. What I mean, the potential of be harmful is because of the nature of this technology has a dual use characteristic. We call it the dual use of the research, which means it can be used to achieve the benefit of the technology, but if not controlled well, can be easily produced and misused by the terrorists to produce biological weapons. Science and technology grow so fast, which make the technology can be very easily adopted to be misused. The price, the content, and even the requirement of the equipment, etc., is so simple. That is something we need to be mentioned. Another challenge is coming from the communication between the citizen and law enforcement officials, because these disinformation concerns always create the panic and other unsuitable misunderstanding. So how to face this challenge is really, really important. Another challenge is geography concerns. We are in the European, we are in the most advanced or developed country, but there's a lot of the regions such as the Middle East, Africa. They have the different circumstance or environment with us, so we need helping them as well. Why I'm saying that? Because all the simple technology can be misused by other people easily in those areas if the areas of us have the strict limitation or rules. What's the future? Future require biosecurity do the cooperation from the scientists, technicians, policymakers, security engineering, and law enforcement globally. And the future is dwelling and thinking about the emerging nature of the newer biosecurity threat, and also thinking about how the policy implementation can be done on that, because that is a little bit too big topic. So I just briefly mention on that. On us, working in the university or the academic scientists, propose various policy-based measures to reduce the large risk from the life science research. That is important. We need to address how we can get this message delivered, information educated, how we can raise awareness, how we can set the countermeasures and provide suggestions to the policymaker is something we want to focus on, mainly the due use of risk of concern and the research management. So that's come to education. That's come to the role of the education. The advance of the life science and the biotechnology has the potential to bring great benefit to the mankind, and through responding to the society challenges, but it's also possible such advances can be explored for the hostile purpose, something evidenced in a small number of the incidents of the bioterrorism, particularly by a series of the large-scale offensive biological warfare programs carried out by major states in last century. So during this dual-use dilemma, we need raise awareness. We need to produce a proper education. That's come to my talk. So what's the gap in the biosecurity education? As I mentioned, you can see BWC, Biological Weapon Convention, as the UN organization, has regular conference and intersections, and also state party trying to produce a code of the conduct to restrict on the biosecurity issues. And specifically, recently, about 5 years ago, not 5 years ago, leading to the last review conference, China, Pakistan, and Brazil, they promote the Tianjin guideline. And this ethic guideline particularly mentioned about the education and the training. They think education and the training can play a really, really important role to help the state party to address this biosecurity issue. So the real need is for the culture of the responsibility. What I'm saying that means many life scientists still remain unaware of the dual use of diploma and the broader biosecurity challenges. They don't know, or they have no awareness about that. This is something we mentioned about building the culture of the responsibility. This gap arises from the limited inclusion of the biosecurity topic in science, scientific education and training. As a result, scientists are often unable to apply their expertise to help to prevent the misuse of the biological research. By the end of the day, the scientist is the people who develop the technology, who develop the application of the technology, and then they should be the main body to shout out to help to prevent the misuse of the biological research. Unfortunately, this is not happening yet. So this is the education and awareness gap. It's not just we say that, it's evidence in the WHO's global framework. They published a global framework in 2023. Actually, this is the updated framework mentioning there's a chronic and fundamental challenge in the bio-risk management is the widespread lack of the awarenesses that work in the area of the life scientist could be conducted or misused in a way that results in the health security risk to the public. So the lack of the awareness and doing the education is a big challenge on that. And we also did some survey in 2021, and we served in the last 2 decades what kind of the biosecurity education project has been applied and conducted globally. We found there's a lack of the project has been conducted, and the project conducted has a short life cycle. When the project finished, they finished. There's no sustainable development on that. And also education project is coordinated. They scattered by individuals, not the global connected. So, but this deficit can easily be efficiently addressed and remediated, and with advanced science and technology. To doing that, particularly in recent years, talking about the impact of the emerging and converging technology on the biosecurity and its education. We had a workshop last year in London. We highlighted the need to develop a realistic and measurable assessment of the risk and related on the need for a more behavior-based approach to mitigate risk by building a robust culture of the responsibilities. This underscores the effect of the governance of the emerging technology depending on the integrating of the technical vigilance with a human-centered responsibility. We emphasize these important things. Education, security education is, biosecurity education particularly, is not isolated. It's integrated with other security issues, as I mentioned previously, about the nuclear security education and the chemical security education, WHO's framework and the training, and the broad effort and the new challenges from the advanced science and the technology. But unfortunately, the work showed in the nuclear and the chemical range, they have the IAEA-supported ANUSN, International Nuclear Security Education Network. OPCW supported the ABEO to conduct the chemical security education and network. Also, WHO has, but the BWC, Biological Weapon Convention, at the UN's, important organization, they don't have these mechanisms. Its implementation supporting unit has no mandate, funding, and mandate to carry out this work. So we think the International Biosecurity Education Network is really, really needed, and we need to do something on that. That is the purpose for us to thinking from the about 5 years ago, leading to the biosecurity BWC review conferences. We want to set up the International Biosecurity Education Network. We're very, very lucky to get the fund from the Joseph Rowntree Charitable Trust to give us 2 years of funding to carry out this work. In the next few slides, I'll very, very quickly introduce our International Biosecurity Education Network project. We have the structure, we have the website, we have the contact database, we have the coordinated meeting and the training. The structure of the biosecurity education project is myself leading with assistance from the Professor Malcolm Dando, and we employed 2 research assistants in the project. We have the 8 international oversight board members to represent it the globally, EDI consideration, geography broadly, to be international. And we set up the website for people to freely to access the information on that. We host a quarterly newspaper and published quarterly newspaper published and put on our website for free access. And we think this is essential tool to engage academic community and the policymaker. As to our newsletter, we plan to publish 8 newsletters. We are in the last one. The newsletter is a means to engaging large number of the interesting people. In the first newsletter, we talk about the international nuclear security education. Second, we talk the chemical security education. Third one, we talk about the WHO. Fourth one, we talk about the FBA, International Federation of Biosafety Association. In the fifth one, we give the 2 case study on the biosecurity education implementation. On the sixth one, we talk about the kind of the other format of the promoting the biosecurity issue is IGM. Some of you guys must know about that. And the seventh, we give our case study on the Nuclear Security Education Network's handbook, which we want to extend it to the International Biosecurity Education Network. On the 8th newsletter, we'll publish our vision and the key implementation structure on the security education. We also have the intensive publications and putting in them along our website. The object, we also set up the contact database to spread out the information and the good methodology, and also absorb and exchange other good practice globally. We create the 4 subcategories, including not just the academic, and we're also including the professional, and we're also including policymaker, and also we're going and including some school as well. Currently, this is the wrong date. It's outdated the slide. We have over 1,000 contacts up to now. This number is quite reserved because due to the data protection, we haven't got the permission individually, so we couldn't put them into the contact. Those 1,000 is only those we got the permission. We coordinated all the meetings to promote that, and have regular dedicated workshop, and we invite people to give the talk, and also we taking part with international organizations. I'll mention that later on. But the key things to deliver the education is we have the education material. This is a really, really important first part. We produce the book, Essential of the Biological Security, A Global Perspective. This is the first this kind of the book talking about the biosecurity education. We want use this book served as a fundamental resources for life scientists, and for them to have the resources could be references. They can easily find the information. This book, since it's published in 2024, has received good usage. And also we have done this translation. I'll mention that just a little while. So object is produce a one-stop shop resources to help people to teach biosecurity in supporting changing guideline. The design and the book chapters, I will skip this out, but is just want to be used for the people to doing things. This book has been translated into Chinese and also has been translated into Portuguese and has been published by their local publishers. I missed out another picture on that. And we are doing the translation on Spanish, and the French is under discussion, and Russia. I would strongly suggest, you guys can help me to translate this book into Italian. Okay. After this, we really want to go to do some exactly work from the concept to implementation, is just to deliver what we visioned, what we designed to doing this. So far, it's going really, really well. We have a specific dedicated workshop last year in 14th of November, about 3 months ago, talking about the biosecurity implementation in this workshop. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to do the education? General thinking, we need to think about know our audience, and we want to select clear learning goals. We want to make sure the core concept which will be conveyed as a part of the training are interlinked. We want to track the effectiveness, or we call it assessment and evaluation. It's very general, a standard thinking on that. Then that's the implementation. So we really have the need for a course. At the moment, in the I don't know, from our survey and our research, we cannot find a specific course, especially the degree course on the biosecurity. That is something we're thinking to set up the degree course on MA in biosecurity or MSc in biosecurity to boost this. That is something we are doing now. The next few slides, I'll just briefly introducing you my recent work to prepare to set up a MA in Biosecurity Education course in London Metropolitan University. And we are in the stage of presenting the business cases. Of course, you will see this is a long work, not just for the content side, is on the adjustment about how you can earn the money to the university. So this course, we want to introduce the concept of the biosecurity, and it's a broad issue. We want to develop awareness and understanding of this biosecurity diploma, and we want to discover the science and cutting-edge technologies underpin the global security. We want to develop a knowledge of the ethic approach. And also we want to equip students with a broad range of skills to address biosecurity need across industry, governments, academic sectors. We also want to facilitate future biosecurity research and develop a policy and practice and provide the foundation for a range of the career tragedies in the world of the ever-changing security concern. That's our purpose. That's what we want to put the content to them, what to study. Due use of diploma of the scientist, biowar, bioterrorist, and international prohibition range, national implementation of the BWC, history of the ethic and the philosophy, ethic theory and the method, the use of the ethic in solving the diplomas, the web of the prevention and relevant expert levels of scenarios that can address a broad range of biosecurity issues of concerns. So you can see is code code is a problem lead approach. So who should study? Life scientists, training providers, and peace and conflict practitioners, and those involved in the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industry, and the emergency planners, first responders, policymakers, and even military professionals. and the staff involved the continual professional development and the people who need the flexibilities on online learning provisions. That's what we want to do. We want to deliver this as an online course to start with, because we don't see the feasibility of putting the people in the university for 1 year to carry out this course. So it's an online virtual learning environment. We want to undertake an individual module assignment as well as interacting with each other in an online environment. Study online, gain 20 UK higher education master level credit without leaving own working place and home, demonstrate ability to study on master level, fulfill requirement to undertake master level, continue professional development, avoid the difficulty of traveling and living abroad and complicated visa arrangement, and reduce carbon footprint. So that is what we're aiming for. The proposed course structure, we will have the 6 key modules and some additional modules, mainly on the research methodology and the module short dissertations. These 6 modules cover the main content we want to address. That is just this. Certainly, I just want to mention we have the diploma and how we can moving forward. University approval and business case is I'm doing now. I also need to do the marketing, investigating myself and the staff resources, and also seeking funding and collaborating with global partnership would be make things a lot easier. Now, I come into on the second half of my presentation, I will briefly talking about the methodology innovation in the biosecurity education. Basically using one slide to make a little bit comparison with the team-based learning and the problem-based learning. I think they are a little bit different, but also have a lot of comments in there. And we also want to introduce some other methodology innovation we used in the implementation. I don't want to read this through. It's just you are experts than me on the methodology. The team-based learning and problem-based learning did have a slightly differences. The key differences is about the focus, structure, preparation, outcome, and the content. But they're all very effective teaching methodology, and the choices between them is really depending on the specific need of the student and the context of the learning environment. I wouldn't say which is good or which is better, and this is just the mixed use of that. So particularly in our biosecurity education practice up to now, we focus a little bit on the team-based learning, the typical of the active learning project. This has a long history from my collaborators, especially from Michael Dando, leading the group in University of Bradford. In 2016, they got the funding from the Canadian and the UK government, MOD, to produce the new teaching methodologies addressing the security education issues on both chemical and biosecurity. So they produce a biosecurity education handbook, and thinking this is a growing, very effective learning approach to teaching the biosecurity education. The handbook is a specific form of the collective learning, which uses a specific sequence of the individual work, group works, and the immediate feedback to create the motivative framework, and whereby the focus is shift from conveying a concept by the instructors to the application of the concept by the student teams. Basically, it's student focused, it's more practical used and practice solving. This has been done in a quite number of years since 2016. The consequences of the individual and the team exercises is something we really emphasized. So we really want the participant to have the individual readiness assurance test and doing something before the class, then come to class as the team, have the team readiness assurance test to get the understanding how they get the concept of the content. Then we use the first application exercise, second application exercise, and doing the exercise debrief. And in that case, we'll see all these activities can be captured and in various formats, digitally, in paper, and in video. So that is the things. And we're thinking this is really, really good to do things. And we developed this methodology in recent year by Simon, another colleague. And we injected a threshold concept in the biosecurity and education, and developing this team-based learning towards a transformative biosecurity education pedagogies. We argue this transformative learning on the biosecurity education and on the dual use can be conceived of where a student-centered learning approach that combines the use of the team-based learning with the threshold concept. What that means, it means, you have this concept, threshold concept, as it's recognized many years ago, is essential to the mystery of the subject, as they have becoming known, are used in the curriculum design and in teaching, and are also associated above the appreciations of a conceptual approach to understanding. They allow teachers to focus on the aspect of the curriculum design and the teaching that seems central and often difficult to grasp by the most of learner. So that is the threshold concept. Threshold concept, they argue, have common characteristic in that way is transformative, troublesome, irreversible, integrative, bounded, discursive, reconstructive, and luminous. So we do that, and then we develop further on the modification and the evaluation. We ask the participant if they would individually take a look at some of the ideas that has been put forward about the whole concept might be formed in the team-based learning exercises and write down their reflections on these ideas. And then we collect in this contribution from the participant priorly to our final wrap up the discussions, so that we can go in the circle of these exercises. That is really, really a brief introduction. I didn't give the exact example. It's just, it's relating to the biosecurity content. And I'm sure you are the expert in the teaching and the learning. This is something we're using at the moment. Other methodology innovation, I want to mention about our cartoon project that was in 2021. As part of our strategic priority funding, I got some money. If I don't have fund, I wouldn't be able to do all these projects. We created the series cartoon, 5 cartoon, to introduce the biosecurity education concept. By doing that, we want to show to make the kind of the education more meaningful and interesting. this can also be used not just to the life scientist, and also can go to the general public, school, and also to, you know, some policy maker. I know they hate to read long text, but make a picture might be good. And luckily, with my small funding, it's not in the process, it's already done. It's being translated 13 languages globally and has been used very intensively in the biosecurity education. We are in the process of collecting feedback and maybe found some further funding to do the further work. And also we have a collaborator in Japan, Professor Narayoshi. He also doing the similar work using the illustration, developing serious pictures to illustrate how the disease spread, how the control of the disease spread, how to control the ethic governance relating to the biosecurity consent. So that is another innovation exercise we are doing in the biosecurity education. I was very lucky that time, 2022, had some money to start a video project. We produced a serious video to review the history of the biological and the chemical weapons and the disarmament and outline the contemporary challenges. And this video demonstrates how the innovative methodology can be used to bring complex issue to a much wider audience to help achieve their aims. So this is our video series, and that we're in the kind of the work to collect the usage of this video to get some summaries of the project. In most recently, especially last year and this year, we have a new project designing the gaming to be used in the biosecurity education. We're thinking it's a problem-solving approach. We got a lot of the disease spread, disease-created content, so that we want to use the simulation gamings to mimic the outbreak of the diseases and etc. I wouldn't give the details because we're still in the sign the contract with a collaborator. Finally, I want to talk very briefly about our biosecurity education school project. This is a pilot study. It's the first of this kind. I can claim in the UK, maybe in the Europe or the world, I don't know. Is we want to introduce a biosecurity education workshop in school. Is delivered by my PhD student working with the technician in the high school in London. I designed this. So this project certainly gone through several steps. The first step is the design phase. We want to ask the questions, why we want to do this to the school, and choosing the sixth formers in the UK. The high school education system is called sixth formers. We want to transfer the knowledge into academia because, they are in the process to go into the university. They are in the last year of the high school. And then we want them to capture these ideas really, really quickly. And then to the professionals and make informed decisions and spread out the awareness. And then the student can speak to the peers, parents, and basically we just want to get these long hanging around biosecurity education issues to the different audience and the different stakeholders, because the school kids now, they catch up the advanced science technology more quickly and then sometimes maybe than us. They play the games, they play their phones, they check the internet. So that is the things. Certainly, we have the program need to be carefully designed. We have ethical consideration about the safeguardings, etc. Then we have the delivery. Delivering included the recruitment from the student, then and also launching event. We have dedicated several workshops. We're using the sandwich methodology to actively recall popular cultural references and active learning and active recall. This mixed sandwich methodology fit the student and they like it. The workshop style is not similar to us, academic workshop. It's a mixture of the university style lectures plus the pop cultural references. Is very suitable to the high school kids. The student autonomically, voluntarily, and low pressure, and they can join in anytime if they feel pressured. They don't have to do this, and the engaging is really depending on them. And to be fair, when this started, it had the great success. All the students engaging the workshop very successfully, very actively. They do a lot of the readings. They ask a lot of questions. We make this workshop very, very successfully. And in the 17th of October last year, we held the first ever school biosecurity mini conference, and the 12 students, presented the project to us. I'll just show you one of the projects of the student talking about the mirror life. And she's thinking the mirror life is not just advanced, science and technology, and also linking to their, religions. I don't understand what that, but that is something they are doing. And, that what she said is a religion symbolism, and, have a lot of risk, emotion, risk. This project was the first prize on the presentation. And the third step is the evaluation. We certainly want to get access about how these projects are going. Certainly, we got very good feedback, and 99% students is thinking it's very positive and increase their knowledge. And they have been 80 of the students said they have been reading intensively about the subjects online, checking informations, and 50% of students watched the form related to the biosecurity. 75% the students feel biosecurity should be integrated into the curriculum as a standalone subject. That's a big challenge for us. And 80% of the students would recommend the project to year 11 student about to enter the sixth form. Year 11 is a slowly low grade of the sixth form. Basically, we thinking we got the good feedback. Certainly, we're thinking other evaluation about the content, the things, etc. Next step is going from how we extend it. This project has been promoted in the CWC annual conference in Hay in November, and we received great feedback from all the people. We think it's a good way to introduce the biosecurity content to the lower age, and they want to collaborating with us. And certainly we want to continue this as well. This is just a picture of the student doing the project. Finally, last two slides, I just want to mention slightly about how this security education can be sustainable and more effective. Effective security education need worldwide cooperations. This not just mentioned in our paper and also has global acknowledgement as well. And for example, in the also this cooperation, not just about the stakeholders and also about the methodology, as evidence in our paper last year, towards a collaborative, collective, and integrated international chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear security education. This was based on a high-profile a workshop in London, which Mattia was invited to give a talk. So we believe a collective and integrated approach is the key to ensuring a broad engagement in the biosecurity education and address the issue of the dual use. Certainly, communication with the policymaker is really, really important. That is what we are doing. We're taking this project to the Geneva many, many times. We're reporting our development to the meetings of state parties, and we further develop the global network and let our colleague to spread out and promote this network to their headquarters and of nations. This global effort is really, really needed. We have collaborating with ABEO and with the Nuclear Security Education Network through Matthias. That's probably, the final bit is our good effort has been acknowledged. In the rolling text by the chairperson of the working group on the strengthening of the convention of the BWC, they did recommend the implementation supporting unit, which is the BWC working, admin unit, cooperating with the relevant stakeholders to establish an international biosecurity education network. So we think our work is worthwhile. So that is the end of my talk. This work is leading by me as the director of the Biosecurity Education, Biosecurity Research Center at London Met, through various groundings bodies and through our global collaborators. The team the key team players, myself, Professor Dandu, and the 2 research assistants. And thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you very much. And well, thank you for your inspiring speech. I think I can give the floor to Elena for the discussion or for comments on the speech. Please,
Yes.
Elena.
So thanks, Mario, and thanks, Lijun, for the very interesting speech, because you cover a lot of different aspects that are moving from biosecurity to ethical issues and to education and training that are really, really interesting for me. I have some questions for you. One more methodological that is related to team-based learning, because I'm usually applying this technology during classes, and sometimes, and it's very related to biosecurity somehow, because sometimes I have the feeling that there is when you have students that have a stronger personality and a strong point of view, are sometimes going to influence the activity of the overall group.
Yes.
I don't know, I wonder if you can give me some suggestions about moderation of these type of groups, and the other part of the question is how this can impact on biosecurity education.
Yes.
Because it's a hot field, especially when you speak about dual use ethics, and so I wonder if you have something to say more on this part.
Yes, thank you very much. Due to the time limitation, I didn't give the exactly examples of the team-based learning exercise we carried out. We choose this team-based learning exercise not purely, is based on the concept of the biosecurity concept is less known. A lot of people don't know about this, and basically participant has a less background. When we deliver the team-based learning, we give the material to them beforehand and ask them to read so that they can develop some, vague visions on the topic. Then they come into the together and grouped together doing the team and discuss the concept and deliver from there. And the purpose, I didn't mention further, is the purpose for this team-based learning and the further development is the trainer on the train. We want them to spread out the content later on after they took the team-based learning exercises and go to their working place and train others. So that's the fundamental purpose based on the lack of the awareness and the knowledge of the biosecurity. For your question about some student or some participant had a strong view of the materials can bring influence on the others, we did have found these problems. The thing is, try to give people, more opportunities, equal opportunities. Don't let this participant dominate the discussion of the team. And also let him to ask him very, advanced questions, and that is a way to shut him up or so that they have the equal opportunities for these things. This team-based learning into the biosecurity education, as I mentioned, we're thinking the people has a less awareness, has a less knowledge on the topic. So that is a fundamental we're choosing this. And we also want this information spread out afterwards on the trainer on the train. So that we think after the few exercises, we think this is a very effective way to do the biosecurity education. Certainly, this needs to develop as well, because the participant taking into our course or the exercises is come from the various different background, science, social science. A lot of them don't have the background knowledge on the topic is discussed, but we give them a pre-reading. We suggest them have the discussion. So that we think is useful methodology in biosecurity education. Thank you.
Thanks. And if I have time, I have another question or issue I would like to face a little bit more in depth with you, because you spoke about dual use, and actually it's a very important topic in science and not only. And I wonder if you can tell me something about how do you think we can speak about dual use research without creating fear on the students, on other scientists, because usually when we speak even with colleagues, actually in the European projects, it's always reported the dual use of our research. And it's something, honestly, I don't feel comfortable with, but it's only because it's not in my training, it's not in my mind, it's something that I have to make an effort to think about and to speak about it. So how could we introduce even this part inside our courses without creating fear?
I think, thank you for these interesting questions. I think the key things for us, the due use of the research, the examples of the evidence, of exact evidence of due use of research has not that much, has not presented. But if we don't do something to prevent it, and until it happens, then that will be too late. So that's the key fundamental things we have to keep in mind. We're not create a panic. We just objectively telling the fact. And that is something happen to see. We can use the comparable, examples for the nuclear, the nuclear bombs, if they not used correctly and create the disaster for the humankind and the consequence of that, that would be the evidence from the nuclear security. But for the biosecurity, because the advanced technology and the science can be manipulated more easily compared to the nuclear ones to make the nuclear bomb, we can make the virus easily in the lab without massive equipment, without complicated manufacturing. So that hinted and provided the real possibility of misuse. So that the core or key message we have to bear in mind and get it delivered. In that case, we can try to avoid a lot of the fear and the panic. We can use other ethic examples, for example, gene editing. Gene editing is a methodology scientists want to use to improve the health of the human and to create, to treat the disease, do the selections. But gene editing babies is something has ethic, consequences and has something to be aware of. And if not get controlled, is not get governance, then it's coming to the misuse, then it's coming to the opposite reality of the dual use. So I think we just need to telling them the fact, let them to understand the potential and the easiness and the others, so that we won't create the panic. I think we have to be, very confident to talk it ourselves. This we obviously need the, collaboration between with the scientists to accurately explain the science and the technology. If we're not, we just don't want the misinformation, disinformation. We want working with the scientists, maybe invite them to come over to talk these things. For example, the mirror life, a very hot topic since last year. And to be fair to say, mirror life is not fully understood by science themselves. So there's a debate. There's something I'm going to organize a sad event very soon to talk about the mirror life, etc. And also we have the plan to produce a second book on the advanced biosecurity issues, which cover all these advanced science and the technology about the dual use. I don't think I can give you the correct answer to
no, you give me the answer
to stop the panic, but I think this is a practical way to try to explain, to building up the confidence ourselves, than to try to not create a panic. Thank you.
Yes, and I think that one of the main issue is to really introduce ethical issues and philosophy inside the education and the training, even for scientists, much more than we are actually doing, especially to face artificial intelligence advent. And it's important to always have present the ethics of our activities, of our actions and selections, and this is really important, I guess.
Yeah, yesterday, UK government published AI in science kind of the regulations, and immediately we've been talking about the regulation on the AI in applications. You heard all the news using the AI and create the decent, not decent images, etc. So the worry in the bioscience area is application of this greater potential is not limited on the research side, so it's gone beyond and go to the application. That's even dangerous. And of course, dual use of research in the medicine is something really need to think about. And of course, on the design of the virus, and using the AI can design the sequence of the virus very, very fast. Emmanuel would know much more than me. Thank you.
And from COVID-19, we really understand how open science and data sharing can help in facing security problems at different levels. How they can help in solving scientific issues in a very efficient way. In the case of biosecurity, I wonder which should be the problem of sharing all the biosecurity approach from different countries, as basically if biosecurity is think as something that happened by chance or not intentionally, it's good to have a share approach, share education. But what happens if someone want to use it as a weapon towards someone?
Well, that is really, really important question you raised. That's come to the international law or international treaty. That's come to the BWC should get agreement. You know, Biological Weapon Convention is a convention signed by over 100 something countries, so they have to obey this. The difficulty on the science and the technology monitor and governance mechanisms under the BWC is not achieved because a different state party taking a different view. So it's a long way for the international agreed government, convention to come into force. That's the reason so civil society like us promote this and shouting out what we should help them to make a decision. Obviously, each country, each state party have the different view. Biosecurity issues is existing in the military use as well. So how those countries can, obey the treaty is a matter of the fact. And the treaty is not easily agreed, and they can withdraw from the treaty, for some reason, and some agreement on the treaty is within time limit of the 5 years or 10 years. So I think your question is coming to that level. It's not easy to say people realize this, they can stop it. No, because they pursue a different interest, they pursue a different profit, and they pursue the domination of the other countries. So that's beyond our scientists' range.
Yes, thanks, Lijun. It's really a very, very interesting discussion and presentation. I asked Alessandra if you want to conclude. I don't know if there are people from the audience that want to ask something.
Yeah, I don't know if there are people from the audience, maybe not. And we also agreed that we would conclude, around 3:30 because we don't wanna abuse. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. We don't want to abuse about Lijun disposal and availability, but I just want to spend one more word to thank Professor Lijun for his wonderful speech, because Professor Lijun, you know that I come from the field of education and I'm not familiar with the field of biosecurity education, but your speech was really accessible also for people, for faculty that come from other disciplines. And I just want to thank you, because especially the part about the projects with the school and the project and the team-based learning approach you use it in your course was particularly accessible for people that are not expert in the field. And I want to thank you for your effort to make this presentation and make this speech as much as possible accessible. Thank you so much. And thank you also for the great honor and privilege of your speech in this webinar. I think that we can conclude this webinar. Again, thank you to Professor Matteo Gerlini, Professor Elena Petricci, and Professor Emanuele Montomoli that co-created and co-designed this webinar with Professor Li Jun. And thank you to all people that attended the webinar. And I remind you that on January the 28th, there will be another workshop. It will be much more a technical instrumental workshop about the use of notebook LM in our teaching practices, and it is promoted by Professor Mario Giampaolo. And we hope that we will meet you all on January the 28th, and thank you so much for your great attention. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.